We will have our featured speaker now, Cynthia McKinney. Cynthia is a 3-time former congresswoman from the state of Georgia, and among the many progressive and anti-war positions that Cynthia took while a member of Congress, including calling for justice for the Palestinian people, Cynthia became the target of nationally funded campaigns to drive her from office. In 2008, she was the Green Party candidate for president. Her outstanding courage and determination are well known, as exemplified most recently by her mission to Libya under the NATO bombs. We are very proud to have Cynthia tonight, and she will also be showing video from her trip. Please give a warm welcome to Cynthia McKinney. Thank you all for being here this evening. I hardly know where to begin. It is really good for me to be back in California. I really shouldn't say that because I might be running for office from Georgia. But I tell you, the people in California are very special because I feel as if there's so many kindred spirits here. I don't feel alone, and I see so many faces that I recognize. It's just wonderful to be back in California. I want to thank the Unitarian Universalist Church for hosting this event. This is my first visit to the San Francisco church. I've been to the Berkeley church, but this is my first visit here. And I want to say a huge word of thanks to Answer, because Answer heard my plea, really. I was so outraged at what was happening that I decided that it wasn't sufficient for me to go by myself, that really what was needed was that a delegation of alternative journalists go to Libya and see for themselves and then report back through their respective news outlets or media organs just exactly what they saw. So I convinced a friend to basically loan me the money to send myself and I think 6 or 7 other people to go, and so it's about $25,000. And so I needed to pay him back. And so Answer said, we'll do this tour and we'll help you raise the money to pay that loan back. And I just have to say thank you to Answer for being here and just stepping up like that. Also feel a little bit like I'm out of the fire into the frying pan, because I left depleted uranium and I come to cesium and iodine. And our government is doing nothing to even help us, to inform us, to tell us what we need to do to protect ourselves from the hot dust particles that we're breathing. And we now have another nuclear power plant on the brink in Nebraska. And of course, there's a news media blackout. Now, The news media blackout that we're experiencing with the implications for ourselves and our health around Fukushima is exactly the same kind of nuclear blackout that we are also experiencing with respect to what our tax dollars are doing to the people in Libya. And the news media, really, I don't know what they do. Because we have more news outlets and we have less information. They sit over there and there's a whole, I've been at that hotel where they are, and there's a bunch of them there. And yet they do nothing except accept the Pentagon's talking points for the day and then regurgitate that to all of us. And any one of us who thinks that we are informed because we listen to CNN or Fox or CBS or NBC or ABC, I'm telling you that we are not informed, we are misinformed, we are the victims of disinformation. So after watching all of this, I just decided to go. And I can't tell you anything other than I saw what the International Solidarity Movement did with Palestine, where the young people who were founders of that organization decided that they were going to do what Mario Savio said to do. That they were going to put their entire bodies against the gears, the levers, and the wheels of the machine, and they were going to say to the owners of the machine, either you're stop it, or we're going to stop it. And so they did. And the International Solidarity Movement made a difference. At least they raised the awareness of average, ordinary folks, that average, ordinary folks can do things to express their dissatisfaction, their disagreement with whatever U.S. policy is. And so I had worked up closely with the founder of the International Solidarity Movement in the Free Gaza movement. And basically what Free Gaza was about was putting ourselves in that position so that we could understand better what was happening and defend the rights of those who can't defend their rights themselves. So I decided to go. Now there are some people in this room who have been to Libya with me. And one is Troy Buckner that I see here, Troy Nkrumah. I have to call you your passport name. And Minister JR has been on the dignity delegations with me. Now there are people who have experience, history with Libya. I don't have that. But what I do have is the opportunity that was given to me to bring delegations to Libya to participate in various conferences. The first conference was about the form of governance that Muammar Gaddafi propounded by the Green Book. And this was the formation of revolutionary committees so that everyone would have an opportunity to have input into the decisions that were made on the national level. National policy decisions, everyone would have an opportunity for input. Now, of course, at the behest of the United States, the Green Book was veered away from. But Senator Mike Gravel had been to Libya because he is a proponent of direct democracy, and what the Green Book provides is a blueprint for direct democracy. And Senator Gravel endorsed the Green Book. So it was an opportunity, that first conference was an opportunity for us to learn about direct democracy as envisioned through the Green Book. The Green Book is available on the internet for everyone to read, and I would recommend that you do read it so that you can understand a little bit more why the United States objected so vociferously to the kind of governance that Libya had. The second conference that I was allowed to take a delegation of people to was an Afro-Descendants conference. And that conference brought together people on the continent and people in the diaspora. The objective was, if the African Union was going to move very slowly on this idea of a United States of Africa, then maybe the push that was needed would be provided by people who are in the diaspora as well as grassroots Africans. And so people from all over the world of African descent were there in Tripoli, and it was the first time that I had seen kings and queens and princesses from Africa and the whole history and the lineage. I was totally unaware of the history and the presence and the importance of these particular personalities, and they were all, of course, there supporting the idea of the United States of Africa. Now, United States of Africa is also very important to also understand why it is that the United States and the NATO countries are so much against the leadership of Muammar Gaddafi and the leadership that Libya provides. One of the things that I learned, and one of the lines that you might have heard in the special interest press, is this idea that Muammar Gaddafi is not the president, he holds no leadership role. I did learn on this last visit that Libya has a very real tribal system. And actually, it is the chief of all of the tribes who is the real leader. And every Libyan national is a member of a tribe. And so that Libyan national votes on the leadership of the country through the tribal arrangement. And I think I see Akbar coming. Yes, I do. So there is a different kind of democracy that exists in Libya, and we have to be respectful of the different type of democracy that exists in Libya. So anyway, I go there, and I just happened to have been there on the night that NATO announced that it was going to intensify its bombing. Now, what that meant was that they did 29, as we counted them, between 26 and 29 bombs or missiles in one night. But that was nothing compared to what came afterwards. Because on one night, just a few days ago, there were 89 bombs or missiles launched in Tripoli alone. And when I say 89, can you imagine 89 bombs or missiles falling in San Francisco? Or 89 bombs or missiles falling in Oakland? And Tripoli is a city of 1.5 million to 2 million people. So the people are under attack. The people are under assault. And there is no place that is safe. There is a suspicion that they are using, that NATO is using depleted uranium. And of course, NATO has used depleted uranium everywhere they have bombed or sent missiles in. So there is probably, we can speak with assuredness that not only are they destroying the lives of the people that are affected immediately, but they are destroying generations to come who will be impacted by the presence of this uranium.
Right. Yeah.
I have a film here that will give you a little bit of flavor about what it's like to be there when these bombs are going off. I even feel it now. You talk about post-traumatic stress syndrome. And imagine our soldiers, if I have it, and I've only experienced it for about, 2 weeks. But every time there's a whiz, or a hiss, or a pop, or a boom, no matter what the origin is, you jump and you react to it. Imagine that every night. Imagine if you're in a hospital and they're bombing right next to the hospital, which they do. Imagine if you're a child and you're in school and they're bombing right next to the school. Imagine if you're taking exams, you're a university student, and you're in the middle of exams and they bomb your university. This is the kind of thing that's happening in Tripoli. It has nothing to do with a humanitarian intervention. They're creating a humanitarian crisis. The final thing I'll say before either we let Akbar come, because I think it's important. What Akbar brings is the historical context. There are many people who say that, who criticize the support that we give not just for the Libyan people, but for Muammar Gaddafi. But as an African American, what I can say to you is that whether it was the Black Panther Party, or it was SNCC, or it was the All African People's Revolutionary Party, when black people were fighting the oppression and apartheid conditions in this country, it was the Libyan people and Muammar Gaddafi who answered the call. So I'm a newcomer on the block, but Akbar can talk about the concrete relationship that was built by black people who made it possible for me to sit in the Congress for 12 years, and that relationship that was bolstered and supported out of Libya by Muammar Gaddafi. So now, do you want to come up now, before we see the film?
Did Gaddafi buy you that
Yes.
suit?
Okay.
Hey, CIA go home. CIA go home.
Well, one of the things that we ought to understand is that the CIA has been active in buying people, and they bought people in Libya. They bought innocent Libyans instead of, can you imagine, somebody asking a foreign, former colonial set of countries to bomb their own country? It is unimaginable to me, and no matter how bad the situation has been in the United States, I would never think of asking someone to come in and bomb the United States.